Now, Paul had actually released this particular joke before the NDC. Now, all you there, every now and then there are these surprises all conducted within social media space now, and also on the grounds. Now, I'm saying that whenever it becomes this NPP, why you people be NDC for will speak against it. Fair enough, it is politics. But I'm saying that Sanka years in the Quarapa will be at the Papa Deka. Because if for nothing, cry na nyimpa sɛbe why feel such as ma woba wetuma akɔbi from yafa wetuma from ekoska yɛhwɛ ade bi ɔkɔɔ ma doctors for as at time the NDC are shocked themselves share video no share no be to senka the new year chawadwen for comment section.
We are ready for action.
The doctors over the past 2 years have at least benefited from the condition of service that comes at the middle of the year. Every year in this administration, doctors are not struggling to receive salaries. The doctors in our recent history who struggled, the junior doctor, house officers, those who had completed school and started working afresh, they worked 11 good months. And then Mr. Mahama, the competent one, that receiving salaries. It is never the case in this administration. Even when I was a house officer, in a record 2.5 months in 2017, I received my salaries. 2015, and then Mr. Mahama, doctors worked for 11 months. Today, doctors are receiving free education. Do you know you are receiving free education? You can walk from your studios to the College of Physicians and Surgeons. Every doctor receiving training to become a specialist in this country. The Kufado NPP administration has made schooling free. They don't pay school fees. Either to and the administration, we're paying fees. The doctors who had car waiver, motivation, President Kufuor introduced, Prof. Mills continued. Mr. Mahama and the administration came to cancel them. So any doctor, any healthcare worker who is listening to us can judge between the two. The one that came and canceled the allowances, government owes the nurses, but then like the nurses to say, allowances delayed, better allowances cancelled. You cancel them, and you are making a U-turn to come and say that when you come, you continue. Can we take you serious? If governance is about seriousness, then one that has occupied the position that you expect some form of seriousness from the person who claimed free SHS should not be implemented on the whimsical promise of a desperate politician, stood on a platform, lied to Ghanaians, and said he introduced free SHS. The person who has occupied the position, and we expect some seriousness from him, per the words of my brother, stood on a platform, met journalists, and told them it is the NDC that introduced NHIS from Nkranza and Damongo. But it's not true. It was the community leaders and the community people in conjunction with the Catholic Church that introduced those health insurance in those communities. It is never true. So it is about lies. Your candidate, who has been a vice president, who has been a president also, stood on a platform and in all seriousness looked in the faces of the people who will sell his message and lied to them. Is governance about lies? So if Dr. Bawumia has said one or two things that didn't come to pass, and your candidate who has been a president before and is expected to know better, expected to see the presidency as a serious business, it's clearly. I have not admitted it. I said if. I said if. I used a conditional clause.
Okay.
I used a conditional clause. I said if. I used a conditional clause. So please listen to me.
Okay.
That indeed, if it's about seriousness and lies, the one who has occupied the position before expected to know better, coming to lie to us, and you are here repeating the lies. Kotokraba Market is not his project. Ridge Hospital is not his project. Doctors are struggling to receive salaries. Meanwhile, under your administration, junior doctors work for 3 months without getting salaries, and 11 months without getting salaries.
The NDC government went to Parliament, asked Parliament to pass a law called Divestiture Implementation Act. And then that Divestiture Implementation Act enabled the NDC government to set up a committee called Divestiture Implementation Committee. Now, that's what they did. They sold 300 state-owned factories that were assembling cars, factories that were producing glass, factories that were producing matches, factories that were producing car tires. Think of all the things you can imagine were being produced in this country. 300 of them. They sold them like chupa chops. They sold them like tomatoes. They sold them like the way you buy onions in the market to themselves. A lot of them have been converted into churches around Jolu, given to their cronies to set up churches. That is how bad it was under their era. So what are we apologizing for?
Okay.
If anybody should apologize, it should be that government. If that industrial base was there, we would not be struggling with 321 factories that the NPP government has done. If the NPP government in 1988, all the way to 2000 when the NDC left office, we would not have sold those factories. What we would have done is to do what we are doing today, form partnership with private sector to revive these factories and make sure that we build our industrial base. Now today, they've dug the big hole for us. We come to start filling in.
Eba be kyerɛ nkurɔfoɔ ana asɛ ɔba bɛka kyerɛ nkurɔfoɔ sɛnea yɛfrɛ sɛ kiss condom anaasɛ rough rider condom sɛ na obiara si nim sɛ ɛyɛ yɛfrɛ ne sɛ the importance a prevent yadeɛ ɛsan prevent teenage pregnancy obiara nim wei dada ɛwɔ sɛ nka maame I mean mmaayewa Ghana population yɛyɛ over 35 yɛkɔ 40 million plus mmaa nko a ɛwɔ kurom ha se ɛyɛ about 17 million ɛna yɛfrɛ ne sɛ ɔmo private sector no na mo ti bank women's bank over less than 1 million na 1 million people never benefit campaign yan kasasa usi yebe provide yebe ti bank ebe kisho say emayu ne mema na mo adwadifo nyina ntutu ema no obi abenya bosia abo yebe make sure say bank ne be kase to the sense say banks nketo ebe wo banks nketenkete te say microfinance no mo ene ye friend say susu ne other banks no so do mutimi de sika to the nkuraso ne your friends a form grassroots no na Ghana ni bi odidwa bi etime nya bosia ni bi ayede abo ade aye adwuma ye de sika betata mo saa ne ye kasa o campaign so na wo be kasa 1 million na omo aka na omo to aba ma so ye kasa ye ka o ye lecturer say o lecture anasa o ka wayi ase anasa adora na pa ne wo kasa o ka o campaign mu e wo so kasa o ma hope o ma vim youth organizer ba be kasa se e wo se nka ode omo ne one na omo contest ye nyina omo be gina na chi omo you know so aka bibi kakra imagine ka de be si wo hono mo Haruna Disu be kasa se imagine Haruna Disu mu nyina certain stakeholder omo ne ya be gina John Dramani Mahama chi na makoye ade ne nyaatwum makoye no minister nyaatwum is it the right makoye to say vim nim zeal nim style nim charisma nim na che I mean what is that ade na makoye ye no again na makwaye wo hose mo launch campaign Bawumia your friend say just the campaign or toss is here echi ankrofo kra no na lerugo na crowd no kra ma che mo de anka mo nkwaye no kra wo voter region mo koye voter region na vim ne ba party na fruma no mo wi a na makọ asha anasa nka Ashanti region mo akwa mo atwe crowd e na di hu weba mo se Bawumia no mo koye unso mabo ye hu o mabo NLC hu o mabo NDC hu omo de hu ahye obi am because Bawumia crowd no unia enye launching of campaign no enye bete that's enye national o region nikeko mo crowd no what is missing dear pa you will not hear any aspirant speaking no any formal aspirant speaking from aspirant friends former presidential aspirant speaking and then what are the leadership doing muna muye the face of the party no hwa nya atwuma makoye wo hono mo enungwase amakokogu ye hono mo enungwase amakokogu ye hono mo mama candidate no ono mo campaign to say ono no or your position leader no person over to me mo campaign to say mo ye makwahye white t-shirt designer shirt what is that the spirit is that the spirit of the party when you are in government when you are in power you are in control of the country so to man mu na wadin kunim run minor and na mo your occasion mo defeat na ma hye but this moment no also be a share the party colors egu gon to say moja e say wani abri mako dress abobo powder ibinu ma ye makeup o ma no and ade sakura to say traffic light mo na mo ma hye entade this mo be designer meanwhile the grassroots nkrasefo no they were not represented hwe mabu na e ba ho no mo mabu na ma ho no mo bebre mabu na ma ho women ni ho no mo okay what is going on namude petumi yaso wuni mo wa henda samokra mucha na mo bia mo nhwa candidate mo nhwa NPP candidate no mo nhwa NPP candidate no what is strategy oko every area strategy different na mo akwa national launching of a campaign hwade amokoye munim some need time and so then don't do it because time now mo de man crofo kra so mo nkasa esusa me person me boss certain crofo bi okra na ensese o mo kra na kasa there are people that matter and crofo say na mutimi pagya o mo nsa e wo ho no mo se mo ye national campaign launcher crofo say na mo pagya o mo nsa ka chom say o ma sa ba party no mo and crofo say na mo pagya o mo so candidate no e pagya ne saka say we o ye MPP ni sakola wa journey ana esumesi then moye bi wo ho no mo sa campaign launch you hit the ground running campaign launch it say will last blow campaign launch et say oh twade pracha say fight no atwade a me de bani no obi ehu kra no odwane na ma ya de efe I mean me he kra no me can be say little win and fancy gadam betimi atwe crowd the same crowd e watamale wa little win betimi atwe the same crowd Shatawale betimi atwe the same crowd and NDC your mother party yatina look at Vimbena oh Vimbena mo kire ho no mo e o say mo kona mo san ba biom because I don't see you people keeping up or matching up for Nelson mo he Bizede mo he your friend is
Now, Demra, they may be out no. I bring in nothing but the truth. I bring you facts back to back content. Now, but mazana share video, share. Don't be so insane. Come in. Maybe I share one your comment section. But from me, Yafa, what my from me kuska. I'm a crowd. Later in the go.